Hi, everyone. Marc Lichtenfeld, Chief Income Strategist with the Oxford Club. Welcome to State of the Market. And thanks to the 5,000 of you who watched last week's video and the more than 2,000 of you that have subscribed to this channel. That is awesome. Thanks so much. Now, be sure to stick around for the end of this video because at the end, I'm going to give you 2 free resources that should help with your investing success tremendously. So you won't want to miss that. All right. If you know anything about me, you know that I love dividends. I love them so much that I spent a year writing a book about them. Now, humble brag time, my book, Get Rich with Dividends, became an international bestseller. It's published in 4 languages, and it won the Book of the Year award by the Institute for Financial Literacy. So maybe not quite so humble. But anyway, one of the things that I talk about in the book, and I write about a lot also in other areas, and investors just love to hear about this, is Dividend Aristocrats. Now, Dividend Aristocrats are members of the S&P 500 that have raised their dividend every year for 25 years. Now, why is this important? Well, think of it this way. If you're at a job and you never get a raise despite working year after year, how would that affect your lifestyle and your ability to spend? I mean, even in today's low inflation environment, none of my doctors are lowering their fees. Before the pandemic, my grocery stores weren't lowering their prices. And even after the pandemic, my son's college is not lowering tuition, even though it's going to be all online. So even in low inflation environments, prices still go up. So life gets more expensive every single year, and you need to be able to keep up. And so your income needs to rise. So when you invest in Dividend Aristocrats, you're getting more and more income every single year because those companies are raising the dividend. So think of it this way. If something costs $100 this year and next year inflation raises that cost to $102, if you're only making $100, you can't afford that same product or service that now costs $102. But if because you're getting more income through a dividend raise, you're now making $110, and that item costs $102, well, now you have $8 extra to spend, save, invest. So you're not only keeping pace with inflation, you're increasing your buying power. And that's really one of the main goals of investing. So that's one of the reasons so many people love these Dividend Aristocrats. So Dividend Aristocrats is important to understand, not only raise the amount of income you get every year, but they outperform the markets. And they've done so historically, and they do it with less volatility. So here's an example. Over the last 10 years, from 2010 to the end of 2019, if you'd invested $10,000 in the S&P 500, and after 10 years, you'd have $32,617. That's not bad. But if you'd invested in Dividend Aristocrat Index, you'd have $39,584. So that's $7,000 more. Now, included in the list of 63 stocks that make up the Dividend Aristocrats are household names like AT&T, McDonald's, Pepsi, as well as non-household names like Lind and VF Corporation. And stocks like AT&T sport impressive yields of more than 7%, but not all of the Dividend Aristocrats have attractive yields. This is really important. Just because they've been raising the dividend every year for 25 years or more doesn't mean that their dividend yield is particularly high. For example, Walmart, their dividend yield is just 1.7%. Now, no dividend investor is going to buy Walmart for a 1.7% yield. You might buy it for other reasons because you think the stock's going up. You believe that their earnings are going to rise. But if you're interested in the dividend, you're not buying it because of that 1.7% yield. So a dividend investor is going to look for other opportunities. So people ask me all the time, should I buy the Dividend Aristocrats? I mean, everybody loves the idea of a company that is boosting their dividend year after year. But my answer may surprise you. I don't necessarily recommend buying Dividend Aristocrats because so many of them have unattractive yields like Walmart. So instead, I recommend that you expand your universe beyond the aristocrats. Now, remember, to be an aristocrat, you have to have raised your dividend for 25 years in a row or more and be a member of the S&P 500. So how about a company like United Bank Shares? The ticker symbol is UBSI. This is a $3 billion market cap company, so that doesn't come close to qualifying for the S&P 500, but it has a 5.6% yield and has raised its dividend every year for 45 years. So that's a long time ago, 45 years. Back then, my most pressing concern was whether or not disco sucked. And I stated then, and I will maintain today, that in fact, it does not suck. And to the contrary of popular belief, it is not dead either. Someone focused on aristocrats, which are all large companies, would never consider a mid-cap company like United Bankshares. And there are also plenty of great companies that have shown the willingness to raise the dividend every single year, but haven't done it for as long as the Dividend Aristocrats. Remember, UBSI is not an aristocrat, but it's raised its dividend every year for 45 years. Not all companies have that long of a track record. Take a look at Ryder System, ticker symbol R. Now, Ryder is a small cap company with a 7% yield that has raised its dividend for 15 years in a row. So that's not nearly as long as the aristocrats, but it is a solid track record. 15 years has shown a commitment to raising the dividend. Now, keep in mind, I'm not recommending these stocks. These are simply examples of stocks with strong dividend yields that have shown that commitment to raising the dividend. I just wanted to show you that there are other stocks besides the aristocrats. Now, I call any company that raises its dividend for 5 years in a row or more a perpetual dividend raiser. Now, aristocrats fall into that category, but I often find companies with shorter track records have larger dividend growth. So if I can get, let's say, a 10% boost on my dividend income every year, I'm really happy. And some aristocrats do raise their dividend that much, but they're easier to find with the smaller perpetual dividend raisers. Now, there are 63 Dividend Aristocrats, as I mentioned, but in total, there are 810 companies that I consider perpetual dividend raisers. So by widening your search, you're giving yourself a lot more choices. So how do you find these companies? Here is a free website that lists the companies that raise their dividend every single year. Now, neither the Oxford Club nor I have any relationship with this site. It's just a great free resource. If you go to dripinvesting.org and click on info/tools/forms on the right-hand side, and then US Dividend Champions on the left, you'll get a list of all the stocks that have raised their dividends for at least 5 years in a row, plus a lot of other great information on those stocks. And they update this list every single month, totally free. So it's a great resource, so check that out. And if you want advice on how to be a more successful investor, including lots of tips for beginners and a weekly article showing you which companies' dividends are safe, which is really important right now while companies are cutting dividends like crazy, be sure to check out my free newsletter, Wealthy Retirement. You can subscribe by clicking on the link below. Until next time, I'm Marc Lichtenfeld. Thanks for watching State of the Market.